Many of the fields available in schedules are simple text-based fields. Inputting values in such fields can be a tedious affair. Using key schedules can help. A key schedule is a schedule that allows you to create a name style complete with the values for several text fields. You can add this key to your main schedule, and then choosing one of the predefined key styles from the list, Revit will input all of the other values designated by that key. So I'm in a file called key schedules, and this is just a copy of our entire condominium building. And I'm in a room finish schedule. If we look here on the project browser, you can see the name of this view is a room finish schedule. And if I scroll through this schedule, this includes the entire building. So you can see level 1, level 2, and level 3. And I've added headers and some little subtotals and even a square footage subtotal here, which is all very useful information. But the real work here, as you can see, is inputting all of this finish information in the middle of the schedule. Now, I could certainly click into any one of these text fields and begin typing in the value I want. So let's say for the bedroom that the floor finish is going to be carpet. And let's say for this hallway over here, it's going to be hardwood. And let's say that the kitchen is going to use tile. And let's say that the base for the bedroom is wood and so on. Now, I could certainly do that. And let's say I get to this other bedroom over here. You'll notice that a little drop down appears, and Revit does this clever little thing where it's actually looking at the other values that you've typed in this field, and it's populating a small little list for you. So that makes it a little bit easier that I can just go in there and choose that off the list. That saves me a little bit of typing, but still it's going to be very long and tedious process to go in and fill in all this information. So we can certainly do better. So let's look at creating a key schedule to help us with all this data input. Now, I'm going to create a new schedule, and you can do it either on the View tab of the ribbon, or I can just simply right-click right here and choose New Schedules and Quantities. I'm going to scroll down through the list, and the category that I want to choose is Rooms. But before I click OK, I want to change the type of schedule that I'm creating from Schedule Building Components to Schedule Keys. That'll give me two fields that I have to fill in, and I'm going to change this name here to Room Finish Style, and I'll call this a room finish style schedule. When I click OK, it'll be the same schedule properties dialog that we've already seen. The only difference is it will automatically add the key name over here on the right. Now I'm going to move this dialog out of the way slightly so that I can see the columns in the background. And what I want to do is use this key to input these 4 columns that we already have here in the schedule. So I'm going to put them in the same order. So let's add the floor finish, let's add the base finish, then the wall finish, and finally the ceiling finish. If you want, you could also include the ceiling height, but I'm going to leave it out for now. Let's click OK. So now I get an empty schedule. Up here on the ribbon on the Rows panel, I want to click the Insert button and then choose Data Row, and I'm going to repeat that 3 times. Now, you can add as many of these as you want, but I'll just do 3 for the time being. I'll call this first one Bedrooms. I'll call this next one Living Areas. And this final one, Public Areas. Now, with each of these keys in the schedule, I just need to come over here and input the values that I want to be filled in when I choose that key. Now, notice that that list of pre-populated values is already there. So I can choose carpet for the floor finish on the bedrooms, maybe give them a wood base, a painted wall finish, and drywall ceiling. Do the same thing for the living areas. This is going to be hardwood. This is going to be wood again, paint again, and drywall again. And for the public areas, we'll go with tile, vinyl base, wall covering just to make something different here, and acoustical tile ceiling. You could add additional fields and values if you like. So now I have my room finish style schedule all filled in. Let's go back to our room finish schedule and use this to import our values. The first step is I have to go back to the fields for this schedule. So here on the Properties palette, I'm going to click the Edit Fields button. You highlight the place where you want it to go. So I'm going to highlight the floor finish. And then notice over here that we now have a room finish style field that's available. This is based on that key schedule. And I'm going to add that field in. Now, it went below the field, so let me just move it up and place it in front of that first finish field. When I click OK, you're going to see this new column appear, and it says None next to all of the values. But now the way this works is if I just open up this drop-down list and choose one of my keys, notice it will fill in all of the other values, like so. So if I want to take this item over here, if I want this to be a public area up here, and you can see it starts to fill in all the values. But we can go even further with this because certainly if I do this, I still have to go through quite a long list of items here to input those values. So what I've done ahead of time here in the exercise file is I've created a copy of the room finish schedule, and it's called Working Room Finish Schedule. I'm going to open that up. Now, as you can see, this schedule only shows one instance of each type of room name. So the way that I did that was I went to Edit Fields and I removed the individual room number column from the schedule, and then I came over here to sorting and grouping, and I sorted it by room name. Furthermore, I turned off itemize every instance, and that's what gives me one instance of each room name. Now I'm going to go back to Fields here. I'm going to add my room finish style, and I'll put it right under the room name. Click OK. So we get the same column listed in here. Now, you'll notice that none is filled in for most of the items, but a couple of them don't have it filled in, like these bedrooms up here and this elevator lobby. That's because one instance of each of those has a key style already assigned and the rest do not. And the way that Revit shows you that the value is varying is to just simply blank it out. So here I can open up this list and choose bedrooms, and that fills in. I can open up this elevator lobby, choose public areas, and it fills in. I can do this in this schedule much more quickly because I have a handful of rows here, and as you'll see if I just do a few more of these, when I go back to the original room finish schedule, not only has it filled in up here, but if we scroll down, we're actually filling in values across the entire building because when we choose one instance there in that first schedule, it populates across the entire list. If you've got 20 of them, they all get filled in. So using this working schedule and my key schedule, I can make really short work of an otherwise very long and very daunting schedule. So a key schedule is a great way to manage repetitive data input. You build styles that are logical, that belong together, type them in once, and then you apply them to multiple objects throughout your building model. I'm doing it with a room schedule here, but it will work with any kind of object that has manual type-in text fields, store schedules, hardware schedules, and so on. You fill in the keys, you apply them, and then if you're clever about the way you set up your schedules, as you can see here, we can make really short work of an otherwise tedious data input task.